Hello and welcome back to the part 2 of our drawing with Pygame. In the first part we just learned how to set up the window, how to import the different Pygame modules, and how to draw a basic circle on the screen. Today we're going to learn how to draw a few more shapes. So we're going to use the exact same program we started with. This is just where we left off last time, where we've drawn just a circle. So to start off with, let's draw a basic rectangle. And I'm going to give it a variable name, and I'll call it my rectangle. That's going to equal Pygame dot draw. Again, it's the same thing as circle so far. And then instead of circle, we're going to put a rect, R-E-C-T. And the rectangle also takes a number of parameters. And you're going to see this is going to start to repeat itself over and over again. The first one is the surface that it needs to be put on. And our surface is self.screen. The next parameter is the color of the rectangle, and again I'm just going to make up a color here. Let's just do 45, 45, 200. We'll see what the color that looks like. Alright, the next parameter is the coordinates of the rectangle. Again, it's another tuple, and inside the tuple there's 4 pieces of information. The first is the X and Y location of the rectangle. So let's put it at about 300, 300. The next two are the width and the height of the rectangle. So I'm going to make a rectangle that's 45 pixels wide and 100 pixels high. Okay, notice that all 4 pieces of information are in that one tuple. And the last piece of information, again in the same way that we did the circle, remember here's this last piece says, if that's 0, fill it in. If it's anything other than 0, that's going to be the line thickness. So let's try to make it a line thickness of 4 just to see what that looks like. Okay, let's go ahead and save this and run it. So Control F11. And you can see that we have a rectangle. This point right here is 300, 300, and it's 45 pixels wide by 100 pixels high. Okay? Let's go ahead and close that window. If that window doesn't close, if you come down here to the terminate button, then it goes away. Okay, let's draw another shape. It's called an ellipse. And an ellipse takes the exact same parameters as a rectangle does, but instead of drawing a rectangle, it draws an ellipse bounded by that rectangle that you drew. So let's see what that looks like. So if I did self.myEllipse equals Pygame dot draw dot ellipse, and we're going to put in the exact same parameters as the rectangle so you can see how it's kind of bound, but we're going to make it filled in. So we're going to use self.screen. Let's make it a different color. Let's make it 200, 200, and 37. We're kind of playing with colors here. If you look online, you can find a chart that will show you what RGB value should be for any particular color. Okay, and then we're going to put the exact same X, Y width, height, coordinates as we did the rectangle. So 300, 300, 45, 100. But instead of a line with a 4, I'm going to make it 0, so it's going to be filled in. Let's see what that looks like. So I Control S to save it, Control F11. And there you go. And you can see that the rectangle, when you create an ellipse, it's bounded by a rectangle. And again, I just happen to use the same coordinates. If I had put the coordinates over here, I'd have an ellipse up in this area. Okay? Let's look at one more for right now, because again, it's the same, and you can look at the Pygame documentation to see what other shapes you can draw. But let's try to do a polygon. Remember, a polygon is just a multi-sided figure. So I'm going to do self equals my polygon, Pygame.draw.polygon, and you're going to see it's going to take the same kind of parameters. So first is the surface, next, oops, didn't mean to hit that. The next is the color, so let's do 78, 250, and 110. Okay, the next parameter for the polygon is a tuple of tuples. So we're going to create a tuple, and each tuple inside is going to be a point. So I'm going to try to make a triangle. So let's try to make our triangle at x of 300, y of 100 will be our first point. The next point, oops, I should have put that in parentheses. The next point is going to be, I'm going to make the base of my triangle. So it's going to be the same y, so I'll make it 400, 100. And then one more point to finish my triangle. Now the y is going to be a little bit different. So the x is going to be 350 to be kind of right between those. And the y will be, let's say, 50. Okay? So now we've got our polygon, and let's make it 0 to be filled in. Alright, let's save that. Let's do Control F11. And there we go. There's our pretty green triangle. Well, that's about does it for drawing shapes with Pygame. There are a few other things you can draw with Pygame, such as lines and arcs. And if you want to look at that, just look at the documentation that's found at pygame.com, and it'll tell you what parameters you need. But again, it's pretty much the same as what we've already done. So the next time we look at Pygame, we'll be starting to do some looking at how to get mouse clicks and put some text on the screen. So we're going to start using some basic events. So until next time, thanks for watching.